Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Right now on WRAL News at 6, preparing for winter weather. Snow could be coming to the Triangle. The action happening now ahead of Wednesday's storm.
And Wednesday's storm brings a mix of snow and a little bit of ice to parts of the area starting mid to late morning Wednesday. We'll give you a better look at the timeline, potential impacts, and precipitation types coming up.
And time to make summer plans. Sign-ups for summer camps in Raleigh start in 30 minutes. What parents need to know to get their kid a spot in those summer camps. I'll tell you everything you need about that. Your spot's reserved right here on our Monday. I'm Jeff Hogan. Glad you're with us.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey in for Renee Chu. Snow, summer, we're balancing both today. But we're going to start with the snow. Meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center talking about this storm and the timing of it.
And it looks like mid to late morning Wednesday is when this is going to start up. Now, the trend is most of the snow would be near and to the north of Interstate 40, and then south of that is where you get that wintry slop of sleet and freezing rain. Regardless, it looks like it'll be messy at times, especially in terms of travel. Power outage numbers, that's something we'll keep an eye on, especially well south of I-40, where we could wind up with about 1/4 of an inch of ice or more. The numbers coming out midday, early afternoon, as we get one last run of forecast data to come in. Windy at the Whirligig Park in Wilson. Temperatures mid-30s. The wind chill slightly lower than that. It feels like 31 in the Triangle and Sandhills. Roxborough at 25. That's the current wind chill. Rocky Mount, it feels like 28. Definitely dress in layers on a day like today. And understand that the wind is not going to be quite what it was yesterday, but you'll notice some additional breezes from time to time. Gusts anywhere from about 15 to 20 miles per hour. I'll give you better ideas to the hour-by-hour outlook for Wednesday's storm coming up in just a bit. Chris?
All right, thanks, Chris. I'm looking here in terms of the traffic situation right now, and you'll see this camera at I-85 and US 70. We're just seeing more and more vehicles out on the road right now, but nothing too bad in terms of congestion. Will that change in the coming hours? I mean, we'll see. It is a holiday, so we'll see how many people will actually be out and about on President's Day here. One other camera to show you. This is I-540 at US 64 Business, and we're seeing a bit more cars here. I checked maybe 10-ish minutes ago, and it wasn't as active. So, again, more vehicles out on the road, but no real congestion as we're seeing here. Typically, we'll see about some red in some spots here, especially along the Beltline when we start seeing more people out on the road. But that isn't the case just now. Check back in with me in about 10 or so minutes, and I'll have another update for you on traffic.
Will do, Chris. Thanks. DOT crews, meantime, as we keep it out on the roads, they're out there to help you stay safe during the potential winter weather on the way. And WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from the DOT maintenance yard this morning. They're going to be headed out to put the brine down on those roads today and tomorrow. Laura, good morning.
They've been working hard. Good morning, Jeff. So these DOT crews here behind me, these trucks are going to be rolling out of this yard once again this morning, preparing for yet another winter system. Last night, our crews saw several brine trucks on I-40 near Durham, preparing the roads for that potential of lingering snow and ice. According to our meteorologists, our chances of seeing that wintry mix and even snow in some spots are growing. So we know this will have an impact on travel, especially on Wednesday and Thursday. The brine will help crews clear the roads more effectively, as we know. And as we continue to watch this system develop, the NCDOT says that they're going to have these trucks out on I-40 in Durham and Wake counties continuing today and tomorrow. Laura Levine, WRAL News. We're live in Raleigh.
And the weather in other parts of the country is affecting flights at RDU, where you are looking live this morning. Right now, we're seeing 16 delays and 10 cancellations. So be sure to check with your airline before heading out the door to the airport this morning. And you can get the latest weather updates from our team of experienced meteorologists in the WRAL News app. It is free to download. And when you sign up for push notifications, we can send the most up-to-date information right to your phone.
Teachers in Wake County schools will get a digital panic button today. It'll be ready to go into use when students return to school tomorrow. It's the Rave app that launches today. It allows staff to signal an emergency with the press of a button on their phone. Staff members are not required to download the app, but even if they don't, they can still get notifications. Today is a teacher workday for Wake County Public Schools.
Well, parents, it's time to start thinking about your summer plans. In less than 30 minutes, registration opens for Raleigh's camps. And WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from Optimist Park in Raleigh. And Kelsey, spots are likely to fill up fast as they do.
Yes, Michelle, that's always the case every year. So we will see those signups open within the next 30 minutes. And Optimist Park here is just one of the places where you can send your student this summer. The city of Raleigh is doing staggered summer camp registrations again this year. Camps have a designated day for signups today through Wednesday. Registration is first come, first serve. Today, more than a dozen camps will open their registration, including Briar Creek, Durant, and Walnut Creek parks. Registration will open this morning at 6:30. If you want a full list of those designated registration days, just go to our website, WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Members of the Trump administration are in Saudi Arabia beginning peace talks with Russia to end the war in Ukraine. Yesterday, President Trump revealed his team spent hours speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The president adding that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be involved in the negotiations. U.S. officials have said the White House wants to host separate meetings before bringing Ukraine and Russia together. White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz says the goal is to find a permanent and diplomatic end to this war.
Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel's security cabinet will meet today to discuss the second phase of the ceasefire deal with Hamas. This comes as Netanyahu signaled he is moving ahead with Donald Trump's proposal to transfer the Palestinian population out of Gaza. Netanyahu calls it the only viable plan to enable a different future for the region. He discussed the plan with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who kicked off a Middle East visit by endorsing Israel's war aims in Gaza. Netanyahu appears to be ready to resume the fighting after the ceasefire's current phase, which ends in 2 weeks.
A shipment of heavy bombs from the United States arrived in Israel after the Trump administration lifted a hold on deliveries. It rolled back a Biden-era policy meant to exert leverage on Israel during its war in Gaza. Biden restricted the delivery of the 2,000-pound bombs out of concerns that they could be used indiscriminately in densely populated areas of Gaza.
As egg prices continue to climb sky high, Trump administration officials say they have a new plan to combat bird flu. For a long time, the U.S. has dealt with avian flu by eradicating sick birds. Officials say the new plan involves medication that would avoid killing the chickens. The strategy comes as the virus has been reported spreading to other types of animals. Officials say their plan should be ready by next week.
The line of storms that moved through our area yesterday damaged several buildings, including Flying Iron, Harley-Davidson, and Rocky Mount. The entire front facade of the building was torn off by the wind just before that dealership opened yesterday morning. Nothing inside the building was damaged. We spoke with an employee who heard it all happen.
It was huge relief because we could have easily been outside, maybe moving bikes around, anything like that. So it is a blessing to all of us that everybody stayed safe. Nobody got hit with debris. None of the windows got crashed in, which is beautiful.
Yeah, that's some good news. Despite the damage, Flying Iron Harley-Davidson was still open for business all day long and will reopen this week with its regular hours.
Emergency teams in Kentucky are working to help people trapped by rising floodwaters. This is video from the city of Hazard, about 2 hours from Lexington. 9 people died, according to Governor Andy Beshear. Officials are warning that death toll will likely rise. People are being asked to stay off the roads. Beshear says President Donald Trump approved his request for disaster relief funding.
And Jeff, Governor Josh Stein is deploying swift water rescue teams from North Carolina to Kentucky. He says neighbors showing up for each other is the North Carolina way. Kentucky was here for us during Helene, and now it's our turn to return the favor.
That storm also shattered windows in 2 patient rooms at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. The hospital says a cover came off part of a HVAC system there, and it hit those windows on the 7th floor. One of the rooms was occupied at the time, but the patient was not injured. Today's President's Day, so you may see that affect your routine just a bit. Most major banks are closed today, as well as federal and state government offices. There'll be no trading on Wall Street today, and there'll be no mail delivery from the U.S. Postal Service.
An eradicated disease is on the rise, where measles cases are on the rise in the country.
Celebrating 50 seasons, SNL pulls out all the stops for a 3-hour anniversary special. The generation of talent coming together for one night only.
And winter weather alerts right now stretching from Washington state all the way to West Virginia. That system moving in our direction by Wednesday. I'll show you where we see the line between snow and ice coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Coming up on 612 here this Monday morning, it was yesterday that several folks in Rayford were reporting some of the wind damage. Sally saying that it damaged her fence there after all that wind. Sally, thank you for sending that through. Report it, and hopefully that gets fixed soon. Now we're much colder behind that system, about 30 to 35 degrees colder this morning than we were at this point yesterday morning, especially in parts of the Triangle and the Sandhills. Hour by hour for your President's Day, we're in the 30s up until about 10 or 11 o'clock. High temperatures this afternoon in the upper 40s to near 50 degrees with plenty of sunshine. Then Wednesday, that winter storm comes through. Most snow to the north with more ice south of I-40. We'll walk you through the timeline coming up.
Here in the WRAL Live Center, I want to show you this. Could you imagine driving through this right now? Don't worry, that's not here locally. This is in New York as they're out in the roads. What we're seeing here locally, nothing like that, right? This is I-540 at US 64 Business. Much clearer, obviously, out there as our weather is just kind of cold and chilly today, as Chris was just talking about. I-40 at Rock Quarry Road is pretty busy as it's been in the past hour or so as I've been watching it. We'll be giving you another update here in traffic in just a moment.
All right, thank you, Chris. There's concerns about a measles outbreak making its way across the nation. Cases are now being reported in 6 states. In West Texas, confirmed cases more than doubled in a week from 24 to 49. 13 kids have been hospitalized so far, but many people are not getting tested. Health officials believe the true number of measles cases is as high as 200 to 300.
Cattle numbers in the U.S. have dropped to the lowest level in about 70 years. The Department of Agriculture reports a 2% decrease in January from the previous year. Texas A&M professor, economist David Anderson says weather conditions across the country are to blame for this. The drop in cattle inventory is causing higher prices for beef. With beef prices reaching record highs already this year, Anderson expects it'll eventually lead to ranchers expanding their herds to help offset the costs.
We're all kind of waiting for that expansion phase to start because, record high prices are a market signal to start expanding. As long as the weather cooperates and rain falls and grass grows, then we can really begin to expand.
And even as those numbers decline, Anderson says beef production is on the rise and the demand from shoppers is still strong.
At least 18 people are dead and dozens injured after a stampede at the main railway station in New Delhi, India. Police in India's capital say the overcrowding continued just after the stampede yesterday. Passengers could be seen pushing into a train and hanging from railings as that train departed, all while security worked to manage that congestion. The stampede happened as passengers were waiting to board trains to travel to a religious festival.
Dozens of people gathered in New York City to call for Mayor Eric Adams to be removed from office. Protesters are urging Governor Kathy Hochul to remove Adams from office, and that is after recent allegations that Adams asked the Trump administration to drop his corruption case in exchange for enforcing the president's anti-immigration agenda. Now, Mayor Adams says he would allow federal immigration authorities back into Rikers Island jail, marking a dramatic shift in the city's sanctuary policies. His announcement came on the same day U.S. Attorney Danielle Sassoon resigned from her post. She claims the Justice Department pressured her to drop criminal charges against Adams.
It was all hands on deck for SNL's 50th anniversary special last night. Decades of your favorite TV stars and musicians all came together for a 3-hour celebration. Take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Sandler.
Yeah, baby! Let's hear it for Jack, baby! Jack made it out tonight!
That is legendary. Jack Nicholson introduced Adam Sandler, Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, Mike Myers, Amy Poehler, and so many other alum of the show made an appearance. Sabrina Carpenter and Paul Simon were among the many musical guests, and the show featured new sketches from some of the most popular reoccurring segments. All of this celebrating 50 seasons of Saturday Night Live. Those tiny hands, Jeff, they get me every single time.
You see Kim Kardashian there?
Yes,
as well?
I did. Yes.
All the stars were
Yeah.
out. It was super fun. They had red carpet before this thing. I mean, they treated it like a huge event that it
huge.
is, and it was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good stuff.
All right, let's get over to meteorologist Chris Michaels with a check on weather.
Yeah, not really good stuff as we head into Wednesday. Depends on how you view it. At least late morning into the evening Wednesday, that's when we expect wintry weather to be moving in. The trend right now is for most snow to be near and north of I-40, and then mixed precipitation in the form of sleet and freezing rain falling south of that. Regardless of the type, impact to travel likely Wednesday into Thursday. Power outages to be determined, although I think that'll be toward Johnston, Wayne, Wilson counties where we may actually see a little more ice than anything. 8 p.m. tomorrow, nothing to worry about. Let's get closer to about 8 a.m. Wednesday, and you notice some of that wintry mess starting to move in. Again, the blue, the snow, the pink, the mix. So the snow really favors those of us near and to the north of I-40, whereas the mix will be south of that. And then toward the coast, it's mainly just a cold rain. And then as we go beyond 9 or 10 p.m. Wednesday, looks like we'll mostly be dry, just a few flurries lingering north of the triangle as we head into Thursday morning. But let's kind of zoom in a little bit, and you see from North Wake County northward is where, again, we mostly expect snow, maybe a little bit of sleet mixing in toward the end. The pink is your mixed bag, mostly sleet and freezing rain, and then as you go toward the green, maybe a little bit of freezing rain toward areas like maybe Whiteville or Bergaba. Wilmington is mainly just going to be rain. Completely dry right now, clear sky over North Hills. Temperature at 36 in the triangle. Occasionally, the wind chill drops into the upper 20s. Our midday temperatures in the low 40s, with highs today in the upper 40s, lower 50s. So not quite the 60s we had yesterday. Fayetteville 52, South Hill 46, Lewisburg at 49. First thing tomorrow morning, cold and calm. Temperatures about 25 to 29, but will be dry as we head into tomorrow morning. We expect to put numbers on the map for Wednesday, either midday today or early afternoon, so be looking out for that. But overall, Wednesday and Thursday look to be rough travel days here in central North Carolina. But speaking of travel, let's check in with Chris Lovingood for an update on traffic.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, right now, not seeing any crash icons. This is good. Let me show you the map right here. Just mostly a lot of green for the most part, but still haven't seen anything pop up just yet. I'll try to refresh it a little bit later to see if maybe that changes. But, I mean, no crashes. That's good news, right? So let's look at I-40 at Rock Quarry Road. We're seeing a lot more traffic out there. This is pretty typical right about this time of day, right, as people are headed out for their morning commute. Do want to show you another camera here. Let's take you out to, let's see, I-40. There you go, at Jones Sausage Road. A lot more vehicles than we saw in the past 30 minutes or so. So people are definitely out there moving and grooving there. Keep in mind, as you were just hearing from Chris a little bit ago, Wednesday, obviously, we're tracking that day to see some of the weather that's pushing our way. We'll get you an update on the road conditions that day as well here in the WRAL Live Center.
Thank you, Chris. A new hero picks up the shield. Marvel bringing big bucks to the box office. Why people are flocking to the theaters for the new Captain America.
Also addressing priorities in Durham, Mayor Leonardo Williams is preparing for his second State of the City address. The key objectives being outlined.
And ahead this morning on Today, we'll meet 87-year-old Doug Tuner, who planned the Winter Bash of the year, his neighborhood invite that has gone viral.
And check out your winning NC Education Lottery numbers on your screen right now. We're back with what's trending in a moment.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
A new addition to the Marvel Universe takes over the box office.
And boy, did it.
Yeah.
And two eras of music superstardom unite on stage. Here is a look at what's trending on our Monday here.
Yeah, Disney and Marvel's latest hero movie, Captain America: Brave New World, dominated the domestic box office this weekend. The film earned $88.5 million in ticket sales. The studio expects it to hit $100 million domestically and $192 million by the end of the day today. The film secured the biggest opening weekend this year so far. It is the first of 3 Marvel movies set to release in 2024. 25. My fiance is a huge Marvel guy. He saw it this weekend. He was less than impressed. He says it wasn't that great, but obviously that's one opinion because it made so much money.
Well, yeah, I mean, people went to see it on the premise that, you know, they've waited. There have been delays with this, and they waited. It finally came out. It's the first of 3 that are going to come out this year, so there's big things ahead. So I don't know how many people left disappointed as well, and what that means for the next 2 coming out.
Yeah.
I sang this song with George Harrison.
I was not born then, and neither were my parents.
50 years after Paul Simon performed on SNL for the first time, he was joined right now by all-new generation Sabrina Carpenter with Simon to open last night's anniversary special, the pair singing Homeward Bound. Really nice rendition of it.
Yes, a very emotional rendition there. But let me tell you something. That's iconic. Sabrina Carpenter really exploded onto the scene within the past, 2 years or so. And she's singing with legends on stage. I mean, Paul McCartney, Paul Simon, come on.
Yeah, he sounds great still. She's a rising star. It's just coming into it. But they started the show. Usually it starts with the monologue, right? Which Steve Martin did. But they started with a song and then went to the monologue.
It was nice.
Different touch. A proposal to dissolve the U.S. Department of Education would affect North Carolina schools, colleges, and students. President Trump says he wants to close the department now, and some members of Congress have signed bills that would start that process. North Carolina receives billions of dollars in federal money for K-12 schools and for aid and loans for college students. The department provides money for students with disabilities and for high schools with high proportions of low-income children, among other things. What happens to that money and those programs now depends on how the Department of Education is dissolved. And you can find out more about what we have learned on this topic at the education section of WRAL.com.
Shakira is hospitalized with an abdominal condition. The singer had to cancel her concert in Lima, Peru yesterday. She wrote on social media her doctors told her she is in no condition to perform. She has to rest. Peru was the second stop on her Latin American tour, following 2 nights in Brazil last week. In her statement, Shakira says she hopes to recover soon, sending her well wishes.
Nearly 2.5 million cases of these Made Good brand granola bars are being recalled. The company voluntarily recalled the products due to possible metal contamination. The company says the metal could be from a small flat brush bristle that was used in the manufacturing process. Made Good says it will refund any products on that recall list.
And coming up in the next half hour, all eyes on Wednesdays, we track a likely winter storm that moves into North Carolina that will impact travel and possibly power too. I'll show you where we see the potential for that impact coming up again in the next half hour.
And DOT crews preparing for that winter storm. The road work happening right now to keep the worst away.
And parents, get ready to hit that sign up button. It is time for summer camps. The registration's opening in Raleigh in just the next few minutes.